Minimum wage should be at least $20 an hour. Let's do some basic math. $20 an hour at 40 hours a week, that's $800. Let's say they take out of your check $160. Yeah, let's say like roughly about 20% between like your taxes and if you have insurance. That leaves you with $640. Let's multiply that by 4. That's $2,560. The average person right now is paying anywhere from $1,000 to $1,600. Some people pay more in rent. You still have to pay your light bill. If you have cable, you got to pay your cable bill. If you have insurance on your car, cell phone bill, and then if you have any debt. Oh, and let's not forget groceries, because you got to eat, and your gas money. At $20 an hour, it's barely enough. People should not be forced to have a roommate to survive.
At the end of the day, minimum wage is minimum skill. So they will raise everything if they make it to $20 per hour. Like, I'm just saying.
Stop asking me to go places that require me to pull out my debit card and spend money, cause bitch, I'm broke.
I just left the grocery store, and I never enjoy going to the grocery store because I hate spending money. And to me, food's just something you ingest and then it's gone, so it's a waste of money. But I left pretty disturbed today. My husband and I were the only two at home. Granted, my kids and their husbands come over for lunch on Sundays, but our grocery bill should not be astronomical because it's just the two of us. Guys, I do not even want to tell you how much my groceries were today. So I'm sitting here in my car literally flabbergasted. How are families surviving right now? Families on a fixed income, single moms, single parents, grandparents raising their grandchildren. How are they surviving with inflation the way that it is? I'm seriously worried, and it's a serious question. How are families surviving?
How do some of y'all have $27,000 in credit card debt?
Pre-pandemic, my husband and I would have about $2,000 on our credit cards at any given time, and it was mostly like extras, right? So like, oh, we're gonna go out to eat, we'll put it on the credit card, or like, oh, we're gonna go to a concert, we'll put it on the credit card, back when a concert could be $60, $80. Our monthly payments were about $100 a month, and it really didn't make or break us. Then the pandemic happened, and my husband lost his salary, and while we were like making less money, everything has become incrementally more expensive. I had a baby and wasn't able to go back to work for a year, so I was putting basically all of our groceries, all of our gas, all of our necessities onto credit cards because you can't pay rent with a credit card. So we would have to use his paychecks for rent and anything else that couldn't be put on a credit card, and then we'd put everything else on the credit cards. I grew up very comfortably middle class, so I do tend to think that like spending money on things like a dance class or like experiences is normal, but I've like completely walked that back since everything's become so expensive. Like truly, we have not done anything outside of just pay for our needs. But we are $30,000 worth in debt from the credit cards. They've turned into loans, and they're about $1,200 a month that we're paying off.
Here is another comment. So glad I was taught to never put anything on a credit card that you cannot afford to pay off. Good girl. The problem now is people cannot afford rent, grocery, gas. Some people have no choice. Damn, I feel you, man. Life is rough out there.
I'm seriously worried, and it's a serious question. How are families surviving? Okay, that original video I filmed 6 months ago, and y'all, I am even more speechless today after leaving the grocery store. I thought prices were ridiculous then. I just left with only things for my lunch for this coming week at school and something for my family to have for lunch today after church, and it was $75. I seriously do not know how much more the general working population can take with this inflation and the rising cost of food. We have to have food to survive. What is going on? When is this going to end? How are people surviving right now?
Did anyone else see this video clip of Nikki Haley? Should voters in their 20s plan on having to work until they're 70?
They should plan on their retirement age being increased, yes.
The absolute set of cojones this bitch has to say this shit on national TV to a struggling nation is insane. Like, never mind the fact that a majority of us are out here struggling, right? Working 40 or more hours a week, living paycheck to paycheck, barely able to make ends meet and keep our heads above water. We can't even afford basic necessities like healthcare, a roof over our heads, or food. Never mind any of that, right? But now she's talking about raising the retirement age from 65 to 70 years old. And don't forget, the average life expectancy in the United States is 77 years old, which means if something like this actually went through and was approved, you'd be out here bending over and taking life's big one until you hit 70, and then you get to enjoy life for maybe 7 years before you croak out. And that's best case scenario, okay? That's not even considering the possibility of you maybe getting something like cancer or Alzheimer's or any other debilitating disease that we're out here getting from things like our food and the environment around us. It's honestly a pretty evil genius move by our overlords, though, if you really think about it, because they don't ever have to worry about running out of money to pay us our retirement, because if they bump up the retirement age and bet on some disease or something like poverty to take us out, they're in the clear. Like, do people forget how in France, when they tried raising the retirement age from 62 to 64, the French people were trying to burn their fucking country to the ground? Meanwhile, this twisted, diabolical political succubus is out here making outlandish statements how we need to move our retirement age in the US from 65 to 70. And instead of people being absolutely batshit upset over it, instead, we're out here storming the gates at our local Targets to get the latest Stanley Cups. I mean, I swear, it's the audacity of these politicians, man. They're all like, hey, we see that you're out there struggling to make ends meet. Why don't you just go ahead and do that for an additional 5 more years? Fuck it. While us in Washington, we're over here on our knees getting $1 million loads just blown all over our faces. But hey, it doesn't matter because we're not going to do anything about it, right? You know you're not going to do anything about it. Evidently, I know I'm not going to do anything about it because we're Americans. And that's unfortunately what we do. We're going to be too distracted by whatever it is that we see on TV. Oh, look, Taylor Swift is at another football game. Oh, what's Gypsy Rose up to? Squirrel!
Now we have one comment. Hope all these young voters actually pay attention. Trust me, we all. Here's another comment. My mom is 65 and a horrible joint pain from all the work. I hate seeing her still working, man. Even in my opinion, I don't think retirement age needs to go up again.
What does the American government think is going to happen if rent prices continue to increase and our salaries are not increasing with it? Genuinely, what do they think is going to happen? I truly don't understand not doing rent caps. I know that's a thing in New York, but I'm from the South. I've never heard of such a thing down here. I only hear about it in New York. That needs to be instituted nationwide, and it needs to be by state, by square footage of the apartment, how many bedrooms, has it been updated, things like that. Because the thing that doesn't make sense to me is I'm in the same apartment for years. You're not changing my carpet, you're not painting any walls in here, you're not giving me new appliances, and you're increasing the price of staying here every year, but nothing is changing. Like, I would totally respect it if you renovated my place and made it luxury and then increased the price. I would get that. I would respect it, but nothing has changed and you're increasing the price on me. I don't understand, because eventually now I'm lucky that I have been in a place that has been increasing for the past 5 years that I've been here, but it has not increased outrageously. And I believe that is because of when I started living here and the fact that I stayed with them. They're choosing not to raise it outrageously. What happens if I continue to stay here 10 years from now? Is this same apartment going to be $5,000 a month, even though nothing in here has changed? Like, what do people expect to happen? Like, of course, people are going to go out and search for a cheaper place, and they're going to move out of your place. And eventually, if you skyrocket your prices enough, no one is going to live there at all. No one is going to live there because it's not going to be affordable. So what do people think is going to happen when you continue to increase the prices of these things and no one's salary or nothing about the place is changing? Like, it sounds like a rhetorical question, but is there actually a business person, someone out there who knows the logic behind this and knows, like, this is the end goal? What the heck is going on?
Here is one comment. They ask for 3 times the rent the first time, but don't ask for income when they raise it. Oh my god, that's such a good point.
These politicians have lost the fucking plot, because what do you mean retire at 70? I don't even want to retire at 65. We understand that our life expectancy is like 77. If we retire at 65, we have maybe 10 good years, not even good years, like 10 years of us declining mentally and physically, that we're not working. We're not laboring for someone else. If we can't even retire, our generation won't get Social Security. We don't even have pensions anymore. What is the benefit of working until 70? We can't afford homes. We're all living at home with our fucking parents, not because we want to, but because we have no other choice. And you're telling us, vote for me, I'll make you work until you're 70? You've lost the plot. No, I would rather chew glass than work until I'm 70. It's not happening. What did I immigrate to this country for? What American dream? I did everything right. I went to college. I got a job. I work full fucking time. And my salary is decent. I should be able to live decently with my salary without having 3 fucking side gigs. Oh my god, no, y'all have lost the plot. I'm not working till 70.